There's a quiet truth that only a few people really understand, the ones who aren't satisfied with staying average. Real strength, real greatness, is built behind the scenes. While some waste their time trying to impress others, the wise stay focused. They don't talk about what they want to do. They just do it. That's what the ancient Stoics believed. They taught that talking means nothing if it's not followed by action. That's what separates people who make something of themselves from those who don't. And yes, there will always be people who doubt you, who don't believe in your path. Let them. Let them question you while you stay busy building. The goal isn't to prove them wrong, it's to prove yourself right. You're not here to meet other people's expectations. You're here to grow beyond your own. And when the days get hard, when you feel like giving up, remember this. The struggle you face today is building the strength you'll stand on tomorrow. This is what the Stoics called the path of quiet strength. Don't let outside noise throw you off. Every time you stay committed, every challenge you push through, you're becoming tougher, wiser, and more focused. And one day when the world finally notices you, it won't be because you begged for attention. It'll be because your hard work, your consistency, and your results made it impossible to ignore. So keep going. Let go of needing quick rewards. Focus on the work. The recognition will come later, and when it does, they won't just see someone who succeeded. They'll see someone who never stopped, someone who chose discipline over comfort, and someone who mastered the quiet path to greatness. Marcus Aurelius, one of the greatest Stoic thinkers, once wrote in his personal journal, "Waste no more time arguing about what a good person should be. Be one." That simple line carries so much power. Stop overanalyzing. Stop talking about what needs to be done. Just get to work. Because without action, words are empty. You can tell the world about your dreams, but unless your actions match, they're just whispers in the wind. The truth is, the world doesn't reward big talk. It rewards quiet, consistent effort. Many people want applause before they've even done the work. They talk about their goals, hoping to be noticed. But all that noise brings in doubt, envy, and negativity. And every time you explain yourself to someone, you're stealing time away from actually building something. If you really want to change your life, you have to block out the noise and lock in. Don't wait to be seen. Let your progress speak for itself. Real power comes from staying quiet, being patient, and only revealing what you've built when it's ready. This path isn't easy. You'll run into resistance, temptation, and moments when your own mind tries to convince you to seek attention too early. Don't give in. Mastery doesn't come from being noticed. It comes from becoming unshakable. And when the world finally looks your way, it won't be because you asked. It'll be because your results left them no choice. So let's walk this path together and dive deep into what it truly means to live the Stoic way. Stay in the shadows, stay focused, and keep showing up. Let your actions build in silence until the day your success speaks so loudly, the world can't help but notice. Chapter 1. The Power of Silent Discipline. Most people live stuck in a cycle. They talk about their goals, they post about their plans, and they wait for someone to validate them. But talking is easy. What's rare and powerful is working in silence. The Stoics understood this. Epictetus, once a slave and later a great teacher of Stoicism, taught that we shouldn't talk about our progress. We should prove it. The moment you speak too soon, you open the door for others to judge you, question you, and distract you. And before you know it, your mind shifts from taking action to managing opinions. Think of a blacksmith. He doesn't announce every swing of the hammer or tell the world what he's building. He shows up every day, hammering away, focused on the process. And one day the sword is finished, and it speaks for itself. Now picture another blacksmith who stops every few minutes to explain what he's doing, to ask for feedback, or to check if people are watching. His focus is scattered. His pace is slower. His energy is divided. This is the difference between quiet discipline and attention-seeking distraction. This same truth applies to your personal growth. If you're always telling people what you're going to do before you've done it, you're inviting doubt and pressure. You're handing your motivation to others, hoping they'll feed it. But real growth happens when you lock in and focus without needing a reaction from anyone else. You don't need applause before you've even begun. You need clarity, commitment, and patience. There's even research that proves this. Studies have shown that when people talk about their goals out loud, they often feel a fake sense of accomplishment. Just saying what you want to do tricks the brain into thinking you've already made progress, even if you haven't taken the first step. You get that quick hit of validation, but then your drive fades. You've already gotten the reward without doing the work. But if you stay silent and focused, you build something stronger. You build momentum. You become your own source of motivation. You stop needing permission to move forward. Every time you take action without seeking credit, your confidence grows from the inside. This is how quiet effort leads to real power. Try it for yourself. Pick one goal. It can be physical, mental, or professional. Then commit to it for 30 days without telling anyone. Don't share updates. Don't ask for feedback. Just do the work. Keep a private journal if you want, but keep the journey between you and yourself. You'll notice a shift. You'll feel more grounded. You'll rely less on what people think and more on how you feel. That's where real strength begins. This same idea applies to learning a skill, improving your health, or building a new habit. The ones who succeed are not the loudest. They're the most consistent. They're the ones who say no to distractions, who don't need a crowd to clap for them before they start, who trust the process and let time do the talking. They understand that real results come from the work you do in silence. Over time, the noise fades and your effort becomes impossible to ignore. The person who trains every day without saying a word will always outpace the one who only talks about training. The one who quietly builds their business, improves their mindset, or transforms their body will reach a point where people can't help but notice. But by then, the work is already done. So remember this. Every time you choose silence over attention, focus over distraction, and discipline over comfort, you are shaping something powerful. You are growing in ways others won't see until it's already too late to catch up. That's the power of silent discipline. It's not about being seen, it's about becoming undeniable. Chapter 2. Why seeking validation is a trap. The moment you start needing validation, you hand over your power, and once someone else holds that power, they can shape your confidence, your choices, and even your self-worth. The Stoics warned us about this trap. They taught that external approval is unreliable, temporary, and often dangerous. Seneca, a man who lived at the highest levels of Roman society and also faced exile, made it clear: if your confidence is built on praise, you'll always be at the mercy of others. You'll be pulled in every direction, never feeling solid in your own judgment. Imagine a sculptor working on a statue. If he stops every few minutes to ask people what they think, his focus is gone. If he changes his design with every comment, he loses his vision. In the end, his masterpiece becomes a mess, broken by too many opinions and not enough clarity. But if he trusts himself and keeps working quietly, the finished piece will reflect his true vision. The same is true for you. If your confidence rises and falls with people's reactions, you're not living by your own values. You're performing for an audience. It might seem harmless at first. Everyone wants to feel appreciated, but the moment you base your actions on what other people think, you lose touch with what really matters to you. If they like it, you feel good. If they don't, you feel crushed. Either way, your emotions are being controlled by something outside of you. That's not strength, that's dependency. And the Stoics saw this as one of the greatest threats to a meaningful life. Instead, they taught us to build our sense of worth from the inside. Your path, your goals, your values, those belong to you. If you keep adjusting yourself to please the crowd, you'll never know who you really are. Your identity will shift with every opinion. But if you stay rooted in what you believe, you become steady, reliable, unshakable. Think about this in your own life. Are there areas where you act differently just to be accepted? Are you chasing likes, compliments, or approval at the cost of your own truth? If so, stop and ask yourself, am I doing this for me or for them? Here's a powerful exercise. Write down 3 goals you truly care about. Not goals to impress others, but goals that matter to your growth. Then commit to working on them without telling anyone. Keep it private. Make it about progress, not performance. You'll start to feel more free, more focused, and more in control. That's the power of letting go of validation. The greatest thinkers, builders, and leaders in history didn't work for attention. They worked for impact. They stayed true to their craft and ignored the noise. They didn't chase applause. They chased improvement. And when their work finally reached the world, it was undeniable because it came from a place of truth. When you stop caring about being liked, you gain the freedom to be yourself. And that's where real confidence lives. Not in being approved of, but in standing strong in your own values. You stop needing permission to be great. You stop waiting for someone to say you're good enough. You already know you are, because your effort proves it, not someone else's words. So let go of the need to be validated. Don't give others the power to decide how you feel about your journey. Reclaim that power. Trust yourself. Keep your eyes on your goals and let your growth speak for itself. That's how you break free from the trap and become someone who no longer needs approval to move forward. Chapter 3. The Art of Detachment from Opinion. The Stoics taught one of the most powerful ideas for inner peace. You must learn to detach from the opinions of others. The more you care about what people think, the less control you have over your own mind. That's because outside opinions are like the wind. They shift, they change, and they come from every direction. If you react to every one of them, you'll never move forward. You'll hesitate. You'll second-guess yourself. You'll get stuck. But if you stay focused on your path, the noise fades into the background and you move with purpose. Picture this. You're walking through a storm. The wind is howling, rain is pouring down, and you can barely see the road ahead. If you stop at every gust of wind or flinch at every crack of thunder, you'll never get anywhere. You'll freeze. But if you keep your eyes on the path and take one step after another, you'll push forward, even in the chaos. The world is like that storm. Everyone has something to say. Some voices will try to lift you up, others will try to tear you down. But none of those voices can truly stop you unless you let them. Many people slow down when they hear criticism. They shrink. They wonder if maybe they're wrong or not good enough. But the Stoics knew that giving too much attention to outside opinions is a trap. If you're always listening to what others think, you're not living your own life. You're dancing to someone else's music. And worst of all, you never get to hear your own voice. The only way to stay clear is to trust yourself more than you trust the noise around you. In life, you will be doubted. You'll be criticized. People will question your choices. Some will try to shake your confidence, not because of you, but because of their own fears. Some people can't stand to see someone chasing growth because it reminds them of their own inaction. But remember this, their words only have power if you believe them. Their judgment only sticks if you hold on to it. You can hear it, but you don't have to absorb it. Imagine a strong tree in a storm. It doesn't bend with every breeze. It stays rooted. Its strength doesn't come from reacting, it comes from standing tall. The deeper the roots, the harder it is to shake. That's how you build your own mindset. You deepen your roots with discipline, patience, and clarity. You remind yourself what matters to you, and you let go of everything that doesn't. People will always have opinions. They'll tell you you're going too fast or too slow, that you're aiming too high or not high enough. Let them talk. None of it changes the work you're doing. Stay focused. Keep your energy on the task ahead. Don't waste your power on opinions that were never meant to guide you. You are like a ship sailing through rough water. The waves will crash, the wind will push. But if your course is set and your hands stay firm on the wheel, you'll get to your destination. The storm will pass. The sun will rise and you'll still be standing, stronger because you stayed steady. So ask yourself this, who are you listening to? Whose voice is guiding your steps? If the answer isn't your own, it's time to make a change. You don't need to silence the world. You just need to stop giving it control over you. That's how Stoics live. They don't chase opinions. They build unshakable focus. And when the world finally notices them, it's not because they shouted for attention. It's because they moved forward no matter what the world had to say. Chapter 4. The Stoic Mindset on Hard Work. The Stoics believed that hard work wasn't just something you do to reach a goal. It was a way to shape who you are. To them, effort wasn't just about results. It was about becoming stronger, wiser, and more capable through the process. Seneca once said, "Difficulties strengthen the mind, just like labor strengthens the body." That line captures the heart of the Stoic mindset. Growth doesn't come from ease, it comes from challenge. Real transformation happens in the middle of discomfort, not in moments of comfort. Think about someone climbing a mountain. Every step is tough, every breath is a fight. The air gets thinner, the slope gets steeper, and the cold bites harder the higher they go. But they don't stop. They don't focus on how far they still have to climb. They just keep moving, one step at a time, because they know what's waiting at the top. They aren't chasing comfort, they're chasing something greater. The same goes for you. Success isn't supposed to feel easy. It's supposed to test you, to stretch you, to reveal what you're truly capable of. The truth is, most people want success without the struggle. They wish for it, dream about it. But few are willing to go through the hard parts. The Stoics knew that this desire for ease is what holds people back. The easy road, the one with the least resistance, leads nowhere worth going. It's the hard path that builds something meaningful. That's the path that separates the weak from the strong, the talkers from the doers. Imagine a soldier. He doesn't become tough by avoiding battle. He becomes skilled, focused, and ready by facing challenges head-on. The same is true for your mind, your body, and your character. If you never push yourself, if you always choose comfort, you'll never know your real strength. But the moment you face what others avoid, the pain, the failure, the doubt, you start to become unstoppable. Remind yourself, every drop of sweat, every moment of resistance, every hour of effort, it all adds up. Nothing is wasted. Every step you take while others are resting is moving you closer to your goal. The quiet work you do when no one's watching becomes the foundation of your success. It's not about motivation. It's about showing up anyway, especially when it's hard, especially when you don't feel like it. Want to grow stronger? Pick something hard and do it every day. Wake up earlier. Take a cold shower. Study when your brain is tired. Train when your body wants to rest. Read when everyone else is scrolling. You don't have to go big, just be consistent. That's how discipline is built. Not all at once, but day by day, choice by choice. Each time you push through discomfort, you're building the kind of strength that can't be shaken. And here's something powerful to try. At the end of each day, write down one moment where you did the hard thing instead of the easy one. Keep a record. Track your effort. Over time, you'll see what you're becoming. You'll see your mindset shifting. You'll realize you're no longer avoiding the hard path. You're choosing it. Not because you enjoy the pain, but because you know what it's doing for you. The Stoics never said life would be easy. But they believed that effort is never wasted, that every challenge is an opportunity to grow, and that true strength doesn't come from luck or talent. It comes from doing the work day after day, especially when it's uncomfortable. So embrace the hard road, welcome it. Let it shape you into someone powerful, disciplined, and completely unshakable. Chapter 5. Embracing failure as fuel for growth. Failure is not the end, it's the beginning of something better. The Stoics didn't see failure as a reason to quit. They saw it as a chance to learn, to adapt, and to grow stronger. Seneca, who faced exile and great loss, wrote that difficulties strengthen the mind, just like labor strengthens the body. That's what failure really is. It's a form of labor for the soul. It forces you to pay attention, to get honest, and to rise again with more clarity than before. Every time you fall short, it shows you something. It points out where you need to improve, what you need to fix, and what habits or beliefs are holding you back. But too often, people take failure personally. They think it means they're not good enough, that they're not smart enough or strong enough. But failure doesn't say who you are. It just shows where you are. And that means you're still in motion. You're still on the path. Think of every great person you admire. They've all failed, not once, not twice, dozens of times. Athletes, artists, leaders, philosophers. What separates them isn't luck or talent. It's their relationship with failure. They didn't run from it. They didn't use it as an excuse to stop. They leaned into it. They studied it. And they used it as fuel to keep going. Imagine an athlete training for a marathon. At first their legs feel weak. They run slowly. They get winded fast, but they keep showing up day after day, mile after mile. And what once felt impossible becomes their new normal. That's what failure does. It shows you your limits, and then invites you to push beyond them. It's the same with your mind. A student doesn't master a subject by getting everything right the first time. They fail, over and over, until something clicks. A musician plays wrong notes until the rhythm becomes natural. A leader makes bad calls before they learn how to make wise ones. That's the process, that's growth. But you can't grow if you avoid failure. If you're too afraid to try, too afraid to look foolish, you stay stuck. You stay small. That's why the Stoics trained themselves to see failure not as a punishment, but as a tool. Something to learn from, something to use. When you fall down, don't just feel bad, get curious, ask, what did I miss? What can I improve? How can this make me better? Here's a powerful habit. Write down your last failure, then write 3 lessons it taught you. Shift your mindset from judgment to understanding, from shame to strategy. When you do that, failure loses its sting. It becomes a teacher, and that teacher is helping you build a version of yourself that's smarter, stronger, and more prepared than before. The Stoics didn't just accept failure, they expected it, because they knew that growth lives on the edge of your comfort zone, and when you step out there, you will stumble, you will fall, but you'll also rise, taller, tougher, more focused. Hey, so don't fear failure, don't try to avoid it, welcome it, use it. Let it sharpen your instincts, strengthen your resilience, and push you closer to the person you're meant to become. In the end, it's not how many times you fall that defines you, it's how many times you decide to get back up. Let failure push you forward, let it make you unstoppable. Chapter 6. Mastering Emotional Control. The Stoics believed that true strength doesn't come from controlling others. It comes from mastering yourself, especially your emotions. They taught that emotional control is not about being cold or numb, it's about being aware. It's about responding with intention instead of reacting in the heat of the moment. That's where real power lives, in the space between what happens and how you choose to handle it. Most people live on autopilot when it comes to emotions. They get angry and lash out. They feel fear and freeze. They face doubt and give up. Their feelings are in control, pulling them in every direction. But Stoics understood that emotions are natural. What matters is whether those emotions control you, or whether you learn to guide them. The goal isn't to erase your feelings. It's to understand where they come from, to notice them when they show up, and decide what to do next. A Stoic doesn't deny frustration or fear, but they don't let it run the show either. Instead of reacting, they pause, they reflect, they choose a response that aligns with their values, not just with the emotion of the moment. Think about a time when you overreacted, maybe out of anger, stress, or fear. Did it help the situation, or did it make things worse? Now imagine if you had taken a few deep breaths, stepped back, thought it through. That's what Stoic control looks like. It's not about being passive, it's about being steady, intentional, strong. A big part of this is understanding that emotions don't come from the outside world. They come from your interpretation of it. It's not the event that upsets you, it's the meaning you attach to it. Two people can face the same problem and one stays calm while the other breaks down. Why? Because one has trained their mind to stay grounded. That's the Stoic way. Picture a raging river. If you fall in and panic, you thrash and sink. But if you stay calm, observe the flow, and move with control, you have a chance to reach the shore. Emotions are like that river, fast, overwhelming, and strong. But if you stay present, you can move through them. You can choose your direction. You don't have to be pulled under. When you let your emotions rule you, your life becomes chaotic. You get swayed by anger, thrown off by anxiety, and slowed down by doubt. But when you build emotional discipline, you become centered, focused. You stop being a victim of what's happening around you and start leading with what's happening inside you. That doesn't happen overnight. It takes practice. You have to train for it, just like anything else. Start by becoming more self-aware. Ask yourself, what am I feeling right now? Why am I feeling it? And most importantly, is this feeling helping me or holding me back? That moment of awareness is everything. It gives you a choice. From there, build the habit of pausing, of breathing, of choosing how to respond. Turn anger into focus. Turn fear into preparation. Turn doubt into motivation. Emotions carry energy. You decide whether that energy becomes chaos or clarity. Try this. The next time you feel a strong emotion rise, pause for 3 deep breaths before you do anything. Then ask yourself if what you're about to do reflects who you want to be. Journal your reaction afterward. Track your progress. You'll start to see the power in slowing down, in thinking clearly, and in owning your choices. The Stoics believed that mastering your emotions is one of the highest forms of freedom. Because once you're no longer a prisoner to anger, fear, or insecurity, you can lead your life with wisdom. You can stay strong in storms, calm under pressure, and steady when everything around you feels uncertain. So if you want to build unshakable strength, don't just work on your body or your goals, or train your mind. Become the kind of person who can stay grounded no matter what. That's what emotional mastery is all about. It's not a gift, it's a skill. One you build through awareness, discipline, and daily practice. And once you have it, no one can take it from you. Chapter 7. The Power of Consistency and Habit. Greatness isn't built overnight. It's built in the little things you do every day. The Stoics knew that who you become is shaped by what you do, not once in a while, but over and over again. Epictetus said, first, say to yourself what you would be, and then do what you have to do. That means if you want to become strong, focused, or wise, your daily habits have to reflect that. Your actions have to match your vision. A strong character is like a strong body. It doesn't come from one intense workout. It comes from steady training. Brick by brick, day by day. Most people fail not because they lack potential, but because they lack consistency. They rely on motivation, and when it fades, so does their effort. But the Stoics taught us not to depend on feelings. They believed in discipline, doing what needs to be done even when you don't feel like it. Motivation is like a spark. It can light the fire, but it won't keep it burning. Consistency is the fuel. It's the choice to keep going when you're tired, when you're distracted, when there's no applause or visible reward. The person who wins in the end isn't the one who works hard once in a while. It's the one who shows up every single day. Think about water dripping onto stone. One drop means nothing. But drop after drop, day after day, it wears down even the hardest rock. That's what your habits do to your future. Each small action might not feel like much, but over time they shape your reality. The runner who trains daily builds endurance. The writer who writes daily sharpens their voice. The person who studies philosophy daily grows in wisdom. The key is repetition. Silent, consistent effort. Most people get discouraged when they don't see quick results. They think their efforts aren't working, so they stop. But that's where the Stoics were different. They didn't look for immediate payoff. They trusted the process. They understood that greatness is slow, that progress can't always be seen in the moment, but it's happening deep beneath the surface. Try this. Choose one habit that aligns with who you want to become. Then do it every day for the next 30 days. Don't skip. Don't overthink. Just commit. Whether it's waking up early, reading for an hour, eating clean, meditating, or training, let it be your daily practice. Not because you feel like it, but because you've decided who you're becoming. And when it gets hard, remember this. Consistency is stronger than talent. The person who puts in the work quietly and consistently will always outlast the one who only works when they're inspired. It's not about doing everything at once. It's about doing something every day. That's how you separate yourself. That's how you grow. There's a compounding effect in effort. Each small win stacks on the last. Each disciplined choice becomes part of who you are. And before you know it, what once felt hard becomes natural. What once needed willpower becomes automatic. That's the power of habit. That's the power of training yourself to show up no matter what. The Stoics didn't talk about flashy results. They talked about who you become through effort. The warrior, the philosopher, the leader, they were built through years of daily practice. Quiet, relentless, consistent. They didn't wait for perfect conditions. They created progress out of ordinary days. So, start small. Stay consistent. Track your habits. Build a system where failure isn't an option. Pair your habit with something you already do. Set reminders, and keep a journal of your progress. Make discipline a lifestyle, not a struggle. And each week reflect. Where did you stay consistent? Where did you fall off? Adjust, improve, get sharper. Over time, you'll stop relying on motivation altogether, because habit will take over. You won't have to force it. It will just be who you are. That's the Stoic way. Quiet effort, repeated daily until your results speak louder than words ever could. Chapter 8. Silence as a Strategy for Success. Silence is often misunderstood. People think staying quiet means being weak or unsure, but the Stoics knew that silence is one of the strongest tools you can have. When you speak less, you listen more. When you listen more, you understand more. And when you understand more, you make better decisions. Silence isn't just the absence of noise, it's the presence of power. The more you talk about your goals, the more likely you are to lose momentum. Why? Because when you tell people what you're planning to do, your brain gets a hit of satisfaction, like you've already achieved something. But nothing has happened yet. That feeling tricks you into thinking you're making progress, when really you've just made a statement. Studies show that announcing your plans can reduce your motivation to actually follow through. It creates a false sense of completion. That's why so many people start strong and fizzle out. They talk too much. They announce too early. They relied on praise instead of progress. But the Stoics knew the truth. Real strength is quiet. The strongest people work in silence. They don't need validation at the beginning. They let their results speak at the end. Every time you explain your dreams, defend your goals, or argue your vision, you're wasting time. You're giving away energy that should be used for building. The people who truly achieve greatness don't need to convince anyone at the start. They don't ask for permission. They don't broadcast what they're working on. They stay focused. They stay silent. And when they finally step forward, there's no need for words. Their work speaks for them. Silence is strategy. Think of military leaders. The best strategies are made quietly, without alerting the enemy. Think of nature's most powerful predators, the tiger, the eagle, the shark. They don't announce their attack. They move quietly, with purpose. And when they strike, it's precise. It's final. Now think about a lion in the wild. It doesn't roar before the hunt. It stays low. It moves slowly. It waits for the right moment. And when it's time, it acts with power. Be like that. Let people wonder what you're doing. Let them underestimate you. While they're talking, you're building. While they're watching, you're improving. Your silence becomes your edge. Your results become your roar. Want to change your life? Practice strategic silence for the next 30 days. Don't talk about your plans. Don't post about your progress. Just do the work. Wake up early. Train. Study. Building. And when someone asks what you're working on, just smile and say, "You'll see." Keep your effort private and watch how much more focused and powerful you feel. Leonardo da Vinci filled notebooks with ideas, designs, and inventions, but he didn't rush to share them. He refined them in silence. His work outlived him. That's what silence can do. It can turn effort into legacy. Even generals prepare their most effective plans in secret. The ones who win understand that mystery is power. So use it. Don't reveal too much too soon. Don't waste time arguing about what you're going to do. Just do it. Move in silence. Work in private. And when the time comes, let your results speak so clearly, no one can ignore what you've built. In the end, you won't need to say anything. Because when success finally shows up, it will speak louder than anything you ever could. Chapter 9. Enduring Loneliness on the Path to Greatness. The road to greatness can be lonely, and the Stoics accepted that. They didn't avoid it. They embraced it. Seneca once said, "Associate with those who will make a better man of you, and welcome those whom you can make better." But he also understood that this kind of companionship is rare. If you're truly serious about personal growth, discipline, and building something meaningful, you have to accept that not everyone will come with you. You might lose friends, you might feel misunderstood, you might spend long stretches of time with only your thoughts for company. But that's not a sign of weakness, it's a sign of transformation. Because when you start climbing higher, the crowd thins out. Most people want comfort, they want ease. So, when you start choosing discipline, focus, and ambition, they won't get it. Some will criticize you. Others will try to pull you back to their level. And many will just drift away. That's the cost of growth. The average person resists anyone who dares to rise. Your effort makes them uncomfortable because it reflects their own lack of effort. Your dedication becomes a mirror, showing them what they're avoiding. So they'll doubt you, maybe even mock you. But none of that matters, because their words don't define your journey. Their opinions don't build your future. The Stoics knew that solitude wasn't something to fear, it was something to use. It clears your mind, it sharpens your focus. It gives you space to hear your own thoughts, reflect deeply, and reconnect with what matters. When you're alone, there's no noise, no pressure to perform. Just you, your values, and your purpose. Picture a warrior training alone in a quiet field while others waste time in comfort. He sharpens his sword, strengthens his body, disciplines his mind. No one's watching, no one's cheering. But when the battle comes, he's ready. His victory isn't the result of a crowd. It's the result of the silent hours no one saw. That's what solitude gives you. A chance to build real strength, far from distractions and false praise. And solitude isn't just for training, it's also for discovery. It's in those quiet hours that breakthroughs happen. The philosopher retreats not to hide from the world, but to understand it better. The writer steps away from the noise not to escape, but to create something lasting. The inventor locks themselves in the workshop not to disappear, but to emerge with something that could change lives. Solitude, used with intention, becomes transformation. But let's be honest, it's not always easy. Humans crave connection, and loneliness can feel heavy. But there's a difference between being alone and feeling alone. If you fill your solitude with growth, you'll never feel empty. You'll fill your mind with wisdom, your day with progress, and your heart with purpose. The truth is, most people avoid being alone because they've never built a relationship with themselves. They don't know how to rely on their own voice. They constantly need entertainment, company, or attention to feel okay. But that's not Stoic living. That's dependency. And the Stoics trained themselves to be complete on their own. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "Nowhere can man find a quieter or more untroubled retreat than in his own soul." That's the goal, to find peace within. Think of a strong oak tree standing alone on a hill. It doesn't need a forest to survive. It grows deep roots. It faces storms alone. And because of that, it becomes unshakable. That's what solitude does for you. It teaches you to stand strong without needing support, to rely on your own strength, to build confidence that doesn't depend on being seen. And when the world finally sees what you've built, they'll be amazed. But by then, the work is already done. You didn't do it for recognition. You did it because you chose a path few are willing to walk. The lonely path, the disciplined path, the Stoic path. So if you feel alone, don't run from it. Use it. Let it refine your focus. Let it clear out distractions. Let it strengthen your relationship with yourself. Because once you learn how to thrive in solitude, you'll never need external approval again. You'll be free. And when you're free, you become unstoppable. Chapter 10. Becoming Unstoppable Through Stoic Principles. By now you've seen the truth. The path to greatness isn't loud, it isn't easy, and it's definitely not dependent on the approval of others. The Stoics knew this. They didn't look for recognition, they didn't chase attention, they just lived with discipline, purpose, and unwavering commitment, and because of that they became unshakable. Their strength came not from what they said, but from what they practiced every single day. That's what becoming unstoppable is really about. It's not about proving something to the world. It's about proving something to yourself. It's about showing up when it's hard, staying focused when it's boring, and continuing forward when no one's watching, clapping, or even believing in you. It's about trusting that your effort will speak, loudly, when the time is right. You don't need anyone's permission to be great. You don't need anyone's applause to stay motivated. What you need is your own promise, to never quit, to keep working, to keep building, even when it's slow, even when it's lonely, even when it feels like nothing is happening, because everything is happening. Every bit of effort compounds. Every disciplined moment is stacking up into something the world can't yet see, but will someday have to respect. This is the Stoic mindset. Don't wait for results to feel strong. Be strong before the results come. Don't depend on outcomes to stay committed. Stay committed and let the outcomes take care of themselves. The Stoics didn't celebrate quick wins. They lived for long-term growth. They knew that true mastery comes not from chasing success, but from becoming the kind of person who never gives up. Yes, the world might doubt you. It might ignore you. People might mock your routines, your mindset, your silence. But that's only because they don't understand what you're building. That's because they gave up on themselves, and seeing you stay disciplined reminds them of what they lost. Let them talk. Let them doubt. You're not here for them. You're here for your mission. And when the world finally notices you, it'll be too late for them to catch up, because you won't just have results. You'll have something more powerful. You'll have discipline. You'll have clarity. You'll have built something from nothing. And that can't be taken from you, because it wasn't given, it was earned. The Stoics didn't wait for perfect timing. They didn't wait to be ready. They just began. And they kept going no matter what. That's what makes someone unstoppable. Not perfection, not talent, but consistency and courage stacked day after day. You don't have to move fast. You just have to move forward. And every time you do, every time you show up when you don't feel like it, every time you choose discipline over distraction, you're separating yourself from the crowd. You're becoming something rare, something powerful, something permanent. Here's the truth. No one sees the quiet hours. No one celebrates the unseen effort. But that's what builds greatness. The early mornings, the hard choices, the setbacks that didn't stop you, the silence you embraced, the habits you stuck to, That's where your strength is forged. And when success finally arrives, people will think it happened overnight. They won't see the thousands of invisible moments that led to it, but you will. And that's all that matters. So keep going, keep building, keep living the Stoic way. You don't need anyone's permission. You don't need to explain yourself. You don't need to be seen right now. The world will catch up later. Because when they finally see you, they won't just see someone who made it. They'll see someone who refused to quit. Someone who mastered themselves. Someone who became unstoppable. And that's the greatest kind of success there is.